Only one feller can tame the Wild West. Only one feller is young, dumb, and full of courage. And only one feller goes by the name of Roscoe Taylor, the Tallahassee Tween. Brought to you by KZSM.org. Tonight's episode, and the climactic end to our program, a final face-off with a flood of ferocious foes. As our tale begins, Checkers Justice and Roscoe Taylor are getting ready for bed as they camp out underneath the stars. They've pitched their travel tent out on top of Calamity Cliffside, a rugged rock formation that slopes up from the surrounding plains. This naturally formed ramp rises to a peak before dropping off immediately, almost like a chunk of the ground was ripped away. Their campfire crackles as our heroes gaze up into the night sky. Roscoe is nestled comfortably in his bedroll, and so is Checkers, although his sleeping bag is much larger and difficult to visualize. They've just eaten a hearty meal of beans, apples, biscuits, and sugar cubes. You can make an assumption about who ate what, but you'd be wrong. And with full bellies and warm blankets to tuck away in, it seems like our wandering adventurers are about to take a much-needed snooze.
Hey, Checkers?
Yeah, Roscoe?
The night sky sure is pretty, huh?
Sure is. The stars tonight are big and bright.
And the moon is hitting my eye like a big piece of pie.
Do you think somewhere out in space there's a cowboy and a talking horse looking out from their planet towards us?
Probably not.
Me neither. We're one of a kind.
Unique.
Individualistic.
Nice job picking this spot. Camping out on a cliffside was a good call.
What makes you say that?
Well, normally, we gotta sleep with one eye open, you know? In case any nasty ne'er-do-wells try to get the drop on us. But with that cliff over there, we're pretty much guaranteed safety in that direction.
That's partly true.
Partly?
Well, you're forgetting about birds.
Oh, birds.
Yep. Anybody walking on two legs couldn't reach us on that cliffside, but birds? Man, they don't follow any rules.
Good thing we haven't made any bird enemies, huh?
Haven't we?
No. I don't think so. Got a couple armadillos we're at odds with, and a whole bunch of humans, but I don't think we've crossed any birds yet.
It's only a matter of time if you ask me. I bet some of those suckers are planning something.
Oh yeah? What makes you say that?
Something in their eyes. I don't know exactly. They got hollow bones. Hollow bones. Think of all the stuff you could hide in those things. All the secrets you could keep. There's no telling what they're keeping in there. And I, for one, won't trust them.
I don't know if bone density is a good way to measure trustworthiness. Think about all the criminals we've tossed in jail. They weren't hiding anything in their bones.
As far as you know.
True.
But there's no way to be sure.
What I'm trying to say is, those crooks had bones as thick as you and me, and that didn't make them any more trustworthy.
Whoa. Slow down there, kid. That ain't true. I have really thick bones.
Oh, because you're a horse?
No, because I'm built like a brick house from the ground up. I got the thickest bones around.
How do you know?
I can just feel it. Makes me good at kicking and running. You wouldn't understand.
I guess not. I don't think I've hit puberty just yet. My bones are pretty bendy last I checked.
Bendy is right. You've dislocated your joints more than twice along our adventures. It's impressive. And horrifying.
Thanks, buddy. Our bones really are different. It's crazy that we ended up friends.
It is. You know, Roscoe, I never would have guessed that I'd be living like this. Going on adventures with you and such. I thought I'd be flying solo, hunting bounties on my own in the West.
I never would have thought I'd be here either. But I'm glad I am. We make a good team, old buddy.
Darn tootin' we do. Checkers and Roscoe. A duo that can't be beat.
I suppose we should be hitting the hay soon, right?
Right. We got a big day tomorrow.
Oh yeah? What's on the docket?
Same as today, same as yesterday. We'll walk around until some crazy happenstance ropes us into an adventure.
Sounds good to me. I'll go ahead and put this campfire out. There. Now that it's all dark, those stars are shining bright as ever.
Good night, pal.
Good night, buddy.
Sleep tight.
Huh? Who's that?
Who's there? I can't see. It's too dark.
I think the voice came from behind me.
Show yourself.
As Roscoe struck a match to relight the campfire, they could see a red and white-haired stallion with a wicked grin slapped on his horsey face.
Calm down, boys. It's just me, Barnaby.
Barnaby?
That's right.
Who?
Barnaby, my old horse. I mean the horse I rode with before I lost him. Before I met you.
That's one way of putting it, old buddy, old pal. Here's another way. I was your partner before you abandoned me and stabbed me in the back.
What? I don't know what you mean. Why do you seem mad, Barnaby? It's great to see you again.
Back in Tumbleweed Junction, you left me for dead. I got sucked up by that tornado. And when I finally landed on the ground, you were nowhere to be found.
I looked for you.
Oh yeah, not long enough. I saw you leave the city riding on his back not an hour after we were separated. You couldn't even wait 1 hour before hopping on some other horse.
It's not like that. I had no clue where you went. Also, I didn't know you could talk.
I can talk, all right.
You only neighed around me. Checkers was the first talking horse I came across.
I just didn't have anything to say, that's all.
I don't think that counts as a betrayal.
I did, and I still do.
Do we have a problem here, guy?
You could say that, and you should, because it's true.
What are you here for?
Revenge. After I saw you ride off into the horizon on another trusty steed, I had to completely reevaluate my life. I had to have some me time, and along the way, I met a few people.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, turns out you've made a few enemies over the past few months. I wasn't the only person you've hurt. One by one, I heard about your mishaps across the West, and I helped bust out some folks from jail in order to pull off a little plan I cooked up.
What?
Boys, it's showtime. Team 1, come on up.
As soon as Barnaby said that, 3 figures walked into the campfire's light. Joanna Bandanna, Lex Arcana, trained conductor Tom, and the Realty twins all stepped into view, surrounding our heroes. Joanna was pointing her pistol at Roscoe. Trained conductor Tom held his switchblade out and ready. The Realty twins were both holding nunchucks, and Lex Arcana was dressed in a homemade pine tree costume for some reason.
What's going on here?
What's wrong, Checkers? Afraid of the past coming back to haunt you?
Lex Arcana, you miserable sack of slime. Why are you dressed like a pine tree?
I thought there would be more pine trees around here. But that doesn't matter.
What does matter is our plan.
Barnaby gathered all of us together. We got a plan to beat you two once and for all.
I understand Lex and Joanna. But the Realty twins? Really? I hardly remember you guys.
Well, we remember you, punk. And we want payback just like our friends, isn't that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you two cost me a fortune.
Train conductor Tom? We just threw you behind bars. And you weren't even that much of a threat.
Yeah, we can hold our own against you bozos easily. We took you down once, and we took down Lex and Joanna twice. You don't stand a chance with a posse like this.
Oh yeah? Show 'em, boys.
Suddenly, all of the villains rushed headfirst into battle. Joanna fired her 6-gun as trained conductor Tom swung his blade around violently. Roscoe and Checkers sprung out of their sleeping bags and began their fight. Fists flew. Hooves were kicked. The Realty twins didn't practice using their nunchucks before the battle, so they kinda took a bit to get the hang of it before actually hopping into the brawl. Roscoe punched Lex so hard a few of his costume's branches broke off and hit Joanna in the foot. Checkers kicked train conductor Tom in the head hard enough to give him 10 concussions at once. It was a bloodbath. Barnaby stomped on Roscoe's foot as Realty Twin 2 whacked his nunchuck and accidentally hit Lex in the temple. Pure pandemonium.
Roscoe, use your spurs!
Huh? Okay.
Roscoe whipped his right boot along the ground as fast as he could, and his spurs started to spin faster than a speeding bullet. With a hard drop kick, Roscoe swung his impromptu spur saw blade into the legs of Lex Arcana. The pine tree disguised delinquent yelped in pain and fell over with a hard thud on top of Realty Twins, knocking them down hard.
Timber!
Come here, you.
Barnaby attempted a chomp at Roscoe, but Checkers delivered a roundhouse kick to the heinous horse's spine, causing him to smash to the ground in pain.
Oh!
Joanna had snuck behind Roscoe. Before he could duck out of the way, she fired a bullet straight through one of his kneecaps.
Ow! Are you joking?
Roscoe grabbed the barrel of the gun and pulled it back as hard as he could. Joanna was taken off guard by his speed, and she lost her grip on the pistol. Roscoe smacked the butt of the gun into her forehead, stunning her for a moment.
You shot me in the kneecap. What the cowboy hell?
Okay, enough games. Team 2, roll out.
What?
More figures flooded out from the shadows. Saul Bunyan, the towering giant, as well as the rest of the Tall Tale gang. Johnny Appleseed and Pecos Jill, followed by the 3 portly Flugans brothers. All of them had their rifles drawn. At the end of the pack was a man completely covered in a full-body cast, with only a black cowboy hat on top of his cast-covered head.
Wait, didn't we magically make Saul Bunyan tiny?
I got big again. Don't worry about it.
Whatever. Who's the cast guy? What?
He said his name is Vince Rawhide.
Pecos Jill, I thought you were good. You gave up your life of crime.
I got evil again. Don't worry about him.
Wasn't Vince Rawhide that sleazy rich guy who got beaten almost to death by those cattle wrestlers?
He said yes.
I sure hope that cast of yours is horse-proof because I'm sending you back to the hospital.
Oh, quit all the banter. We don't have all day. Let's keep fighting.
You don't have to tell me twice.
And fight they did. For another 25 minutes, Roscoe and Checkers duked it out with this giant mass of foes. Roscoe's foot was bleeding all over his boot, and Checkers was starting to get winded.
Roscoe, I hate to say it, but I don't know how much longer we can take these guys. There's just so many of them.
Keep fighting, buddy. There's no way we can lose. We're the good guys.
Team 3, roll out!
At the base of the cliffside, a crowd began charging up towards the peak. It was the Armadillo Armada, led by their newly appointed king, Leporius the 116th. Rushing alongside the Armadillo horde were hundreds of billy goats, apparently being led by a minuscule gold nugget golem who held out a fishing pole with a salt rock hanging as bait. At the tail of the mass was Don Peyote, atop his elderly horse. He was swinging his lance to and fro with reckless abandon as his steed coughed and struggled to keep galloping. If this is the first episode of our show you've ever listened to, God help you.
Oh, come on!
I told you, we got you helplessly outnumbered. This is your end.
Roscoe, what can we do?
I don't know, man. Retreat? Let's go higher up this hill. To the peak.
The hundreds and hundreds of fearsome foes pushed our 2 heroes higher and higher up Calamity Cliffside, inching closer and closer to the deadly drop-off. Roscoe whipped out his lasso and tried to trip up Saul Bunyan, but it was no use. Within seconds, the lasso was pulled from his hands and into the oncoming mob. The 3 Flugans brothers hopped on each other's shoulders to form a human totem pole. The top brother bent backwards, the totem pole flexing back down to the ground as 5 armadillos crawled into his arms. With a snap, the brothers straightened forwards, launching the armadillos through the air. They latched onto Checkers and began biting him all over. Barnaby kicked Roscoe in the gut. Vince Rawhide fell over in all the hullabaloo, and his cast-covered body was being trampled on by hundreds of goats and armadillos.
Buddy, we've got nowhere to go but down. I think we're gonna have to jump.
Jump? We'll die.
Well, our odds aren't great any more up here.
That's right. You 2 ain't getting out of here alive. You finally met your match.
Okay, let's jump.
Ah!
Roscoe hopped on Checkers' back as the 2 leaped off Calamity Cliff, which was now swarmed with a never-ending tide of ne'er-do-wells.
Roscoe, use your hat as a parachute.
Oh yeah, my hat.
Not so fast. Pecos Jill.
On it, boss. Yeah.
Pecos Jill cast her own rope far out, wrapping the large loop around Roscoe's overly tall cowboy hat and snagging it off of his head. Pecos Jill handed our hero's headwear to Barnaby.
Oh darn, this is gonna hurt.
So long, boys.
As Roscoe and Checkers plummeted straight down towards the bottom of the cliff, the situation looked hopeless. Just then, Checkers saw something in the night sky.
Look over there. It's a bird. Maybe he can help.
Mr. Bird, please help us. We're falling to our deaths.
No thanks.
Well, it was worth a shot.
I knew they were no good.
Is this the end, buddy?
Sure looks that way. Without your lasso or your hat, we don't really have any way to get out of this pickle.
This sucks. I never even got to grow real facial hair.
Yeah, and I never got to go to apologize to Domino.
Your old horse girlfriend?
Yeah, aside from that though, at least I'm not going out with any other regrets.
Me neither. Though I'd wish I'd got to Tallahassee.
Sorry, partner.
It's okay, buddy.
Here comes the ground.
Oof. At least it'll be over soon.
As their falling bodies hurtled closer and closer to the rocks beneath them, Roscoe reached out and grabbed one of Checker's hooves.
So long.
Their bodies smashed into the ground with a devastating impact. They basically exploded. With a mess of horse and tween viscera splattering in every direction, the two heroes died instantly.
Wow, didn't see that coming, did ya? What'll happen next? Is this really the end?
Did Barnaby and his gang of fiends really triumph once and for all? Now that our main characters are dead, how will we fill another 45 minutes of radio? If you really want to find out the answers to these questions, listen to this short commercial break.
The experience of a new genre of music occurred in the 70s. Funk. Pure, unadulterated, groovalicious. Then it got mixed into a gumbo. Jazz funk, disco funk, R&B funk. They even came up with funk rock. Relive the golden era of this groove every Tuesday evening, 8 to 10 p.m. on Downtown Funk with Sammy the Bull. Always on KZSM Community Radio.
Welcome back to Roscoe Taylor, the Tallahassee Tween. Now let's get back to the action. When we left off, Roscoe and Checkers died. They're toast. Dead as can be. I know this story is filled with cartoon logic and unrealistic physics, but I can't make this point clear enough. They are dead. Now, standing on the peak of Calamity Cliffside, Barnaby puts on Roscoe's 20-gallon hat and turns to his army.
Well, we did it, folks.
What's the plan now?
Yeah, now that the twerp is toast, what's our next step?
Good question. You know, I started all of this just to get payback. But now, I've got a different ambition. We're quite a team, ain't we, boys? Shame to let a posse like this go to waste. And in front of me, I see some of the best bandits the West has ever seen. And I also see some other people. And a bunch of billy goats. Here's the idea. Let's take what's rightfully ours. Let's conquer the Wild West. Make it ours. What do you say?
The army cheered.
Well then, let's get to work. Team 1, Joanna, Lex, Tom.
My first name is Train Conductor, and my last name is Tom.
Train Conductor and the Realty Twins. You five are going to be the swindlers. Rob banks, stick up wagons, just steal as much as you can. We're going to need money, and lots of it. The Armadillos have this crazy underground tunnel system. You can use that to break into pretty much any building you'd like. I don't care how you do it. Just get us some cash, understood?
Yes,
Can do,
sir.
boss.
Team 2, Fluken Brothers, Rawhide, Pecos, Jill, Johnny Appleseed, Saul Bunyan. Eddie, you're going to be the muscle. I want a base of operations, and I know we're close to that fort, the Alamode or whatever it's called. I want me to clear out the current tenants so we can set up in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Sure
boss.
thing, boss.
Good. Now, lastly, Team 3, Armadillo Armada, Billy Goats, and whoever that old guy in the back is.
The world famous Don Peyote.
Let's get set up in those tunnels for the time being, and I'm going to start plotting even more. By this time next year, I want complete control of the West. Barnaby gets what he wants. I can't believe they're actually dead. I hope they're burning in cowboy hell.
Meanwhile, in Cowboy Hell, Checkers has just woken up.
Huh? Where am I?
As he looked around, all he could see in any direction was fire.
Crap. This is cowboy hell, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Oh! Who are you?
Cowboy Satan.
Really? I thought you'd be a
guy. Chauvinist pig. Cowboy God might not be a woman, but I am.
Shouldn't you be Cowgirl Satan, though?
No, Cowboy is my first name.
Oh, brother, one of those.
Excuse me?
Nothing. I'm just a little done with the whole weird name thing.
Cut the attitude, horse. You're in cowboy hell now. My domain.
Why?
Horses don't have souls. They can't be baptized.
That's lame.
I don't make the rules, dude. I just enforce them. We gotta get you ready for torture time. I run a pretty tight ship here. We got a schedule, so we can't really dilly-dally too much. Capiche?
Oh, no. I'm not getting tortured. That sounds like it sucks.
It does. That's the point. Eternal damnation.
No way. I'll just fight you.
What?
I'll fight you. Beat you to death. I'm a horse with big, strong bones. I'll just trample you and find some way to escape.
You can't kill me. I'm the devil.
Can too.
Can not. If I die, where would I go? Right back down here.
Well, it's not like I could face any real consequences for trying to kill you. What are you gonna do, torture me extra?
I mean, yeah, I guess we could.
But I'm here for eternity.
Right.
So I'm getting tortured forever anyhow.
Yeah.
You can't possibly make a punishment worse than that. So I'm just gonna try to murder you with my hooves. Plus, you're the embodiment of like all evil. Maybe if I kill you, Cowboy God will see what I did is a good thing. And maybe he'll teleport me out of here. Won't know for sure unless I try. Here I go.
Wait.
What?
You're wasting your time. Like I said, I have a schedule. We can't dilly-dally. This is dilly-dally.
Just shut up and let me trample you.
You've got some nerve. I respect that. How about we make a deal?
What?
A deal?
Like a fiddle competition? Not interested.
You can decide what the challenge is. If I beat you, you shut up and take your eternal torture like everyone else. You stop trying to kill me.
And if I beat you?
I'll make you a new body and send you back to Earth.
Whoa, yeah, I'm in. But when I die again, will I come back down to cowboy hell again?
Yes.
Because I'm a horse?
Right.
Okay. If that happens, I'll just beat you to death then.
Whatever, man. Let's just get on with it. I got stuff to do. You're not the only one in cowboy hell, you know. I have a whole crew of landlords I need to smite before my shift's over.
Landlords? What'd they do wrong? Whoop! I just answered my own question.
Then after those guys, I have some more newbies to deal with. A snake oil salesman, an armadillo, the list goes on.
Oh, well, I think I know what challenge I want to do.
Yeah?
Yeah, a race.
Deal.
Cowboy Satan snapped her fingers and a demon steed appeared. It was a flaming skeleton with 2 sets of leathery bat wings sprouting from its jagged spine. The devil herself climbed onto the hell horse's back and grabbed hold of its flaming reins.
First one to the other side of cowboy hell wins. On the count of 3. 1, 2...
I'm gonna cheat. I'm the devil.
What?
Satan whipped the reins and flew forward at lightning-fast speeds. Checkers immediately began galloping with all of his might after them.
Crap, I'm not fast enough.
They ran and ran some more across the full length of cowboy hell, past lakes of fire and pillars of brimstone, past the landlords and the ghost of Leon, Snake Oil Sam, and the Armadillo King. Checkers was inching closer to Satan's steed, but he was still lagging behind.
You made a bad call, Checkers. You should have challenged me to something you're good at. This is just sad.
As that insult from the cowboy devil slapped him in the face, Checkers felt a second wind build in him, a renewed sense of speed. He jolted forwards faster with every gallop, practically leaping forwards, finally catching up. He ran alongside the devil horse and bit down hard on one of its huge wings.
What?
With his jaws clamping the wing, Checkers yanked his head down, causing the hell horse to stumble and fall to the ground.
Gotcha.
As the bony stallion tripped to the ground, it skidded to a halt, bucking forwards hard enough to launch Cowboy Satan into the air. Checkers kept running further and further. He was only a few meters away from the giant wall of fire, the finish line for this race. But Cowboy Satan had one more trick up her sleeve. As she hurtled through the fiery sky, she pulled out a trident and chucked it straight for Checkers. And as the trident flew straight for our horsey hero, Checkers hopped into the air and bucked back with all of his might. His hind hooves slammed into the points of the trident at the perfect moment, ricocheting the projectile back into the air.
Better luck next time.
The trident soared back through the sky, impaling Cowboy Satan immediately.
No!
Checkers finally reached the end of the race, and as he slowed to a stop, Cowboy Satan burst into flames and disappeared.
I knew I could do it.
Just then, Cowboy Satan fell from the sky and slammed onto the fiery ground in front of the one and only Checkers Justice.
Ah! Screw you! That hurt.
I bet. Serves you right. Now, a deal's a deal. Send me back to Earth.
Whatever. This is garbage. Get out of my hair. See you next time.
The clearly bitter demon snapped her fingers and suddenly Checkers glowed white. He looked down at his hooves and saw that he was disappearing.
Hey, Cowboy Satan.
Yeah?
One more thing before I go. Where's Roscoe?
She smirked, and in the blink of an eye, Checkers was gone. He woke up with a shock in the middle of a desert.
Well, that was bonkers.
Yes, it was. Checkers beat the cowboy devil and kicked her to boot. This episode has been especially violent, hasn't it? There are still so many loose ends that need tying up before our program comes to an end. Checkers never got an answer to his question, where is Roscoe Taylor, the Tallahassee tween? What will Checkers do now that he's once again in the land of the living? Will Barnaby and his malicious mob wreak havoc in the Wild West? Can anyone stop them? If you really want to find out the answers to these pressing queries, listen to this short commercial break.
I'm Jordan.
And I'm Lexi.
And we're the hosts of the brand new KZSM show, Swamp Gas Uggos. Join us every week as we dive into the swamps of reality and discuss cryptids, ghosts, UFOs, and everything else that goes bump in the night. I believe.
And I'm scared.
And you'll catch us every Sunday at 10 p.m. here on KZSM.org.
Welcome back to Roscoe Taylor, the Tallahassee tween. Now let's get back to the action. When we left our story, Checkers went to hell and back. He's been wandering through the desert for a few hours, desperately trying to find any sign of civilization.
Hello? Anybody?
But there was only the whistling wind and a few rolling tumbleweeds in the distance. His cries fell on deaf ears.
I better not die out here. It'd be so embarrassing to land back in cowboy hell this soon.
Let's leave Checkers for the moment and return to Barnaby the horse and his evil gang of murderous thieves. They had taken control of the Alamo. The stone fortress was their new hideout. A mess of armadillos, billy goats, and criminals stood around the interior of the fort, talking to one another idly. Barnaby stood on top of a podium and spoke to the mass.
Hey, everybody. Team meeting.
Yeah, boss?
I just want to congratulate you all on a job well done. Team 1, great work with that big heist. We've got cash up the wazoo. A few more jobs like that and we'll be the richest gang in the country. Team 2, you guys knocked it out of the park with that fort conquering. This place is spacious.
Thanks, boss.
Team 3, the tunnel system's looking great. Once the sun rises tomorrow, we're going to start Operation Wild Wild Best.
What?
Operation Wild Wild Best. Because we're going to be the best.
I don't really like the title, if I'm being honest.
What? It's a great title. It's a double entendre. Sounds like Wild Wild West.
That's not a double entendre. It's not even a single entendre.
Well, what does everyone else think?
The crowd just shrugged their collective shoulders in unison.
I'll take what I can get. Shrug ain't a no. So, Pecos, Jill. Keep your trap shut from now on. I'm the boss around here. I make the rules and I make the scheme names. Now, like I was saying, Operation Wild Wild Best. Here's the gist. World domination is overrated. Most of the world sucks. Same goes for the West. Who cares about all these patches of deserts and canyons and crap? Not me. We want control of the cities, control of the railroads.
As he spoke, Lex Arcana unfolded a huge map of the West and pinned it to the podium that Barnaby was standing behind. Lex pulled out a red marker and began circling different cities and railroad lines.
Cash is fine, but power's better. It'll take some work, but I know this crew is up to the task. You need to keep up steam, all right? Don't rest for a second. You know, I heard an old adverb about a cricket and an ant.
An adverb?
What was that, Joe?
Sorry, boss.
No, say it. You've already interrupted me twice now. Say what you wanted to say.
I thought you said adverb.
I did. There's a story I wanted to share with the crowd. Share an old adverb.
You mean an adage?
No, I mean an adverb.
You mean a proverb?
No, I mean an adverb.
I don't think you know what you're saying.
What's that supposed to mean? I know an adverb when I hear one.
An adverb is a descriptor for a verb, boss. It doesn't mean a story.
You too, Lex? You guys want to hear the story or not?
Whatever. Forget I said anything.
I will. I will forget you have ever said anything. You better watch it. You don't want to see what happens when you get on my bad side. Anyways, crap, I forgot the story. Ugh. Meeting dismissed.
The crowd all shrugged their shoulders again and dispersed. Meanwhile, far above the Alamo, past the stratosphere, past the ozone, past the observable universe, Roscoe Taylor was waking up.
What? Where am I? Where is this?
His eyes were still adjusting to the bright light all around him, but once he could see properly, he realized that he had something sprouting out of his back.
That? Wings? Huh. Weird. What's this glowing ring thing above my head? It looks like a halo?
A man walked up to Roscoe. He was about 5'6" and he wore a white robe, as well as a 10-gallon, glowing golden cowboy hat. He had on cowboy boots that turned into sandals towards his toes. Not a great look, but it was obvious that this was
Cowboy Jesus?
Yes, my son.
Whoa! It's you! It's really you!
The one and only. Welcome to Cowboy Heaven. Welcome home.
Everything's made of clouds up here.
That's right.
And it smells like... Is that lavender?
Heaven smells different to every person, Roscoe. It says so in the Bible.
You mean the Cowboy Bible?
Yes.
Wow. I guess I really died, huh?
Yes, you really did.
Where's Checkers? I wonder who he'll smell here. Probably apples. That guy frickin' loves apples.
I'm sorry, Roscoe, but Checkers isn't,
He isn't here?
No, I'm afraid not. He went to Cowboy Hell on account of not having a soul. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news.
Really? Well then, I want to go down there too. I gotta break him out.
Oh, it doesn't work like that, my child.
Why not? I want to see Checkers. I can't let him get tortured or burned alive or whatever it is they do there. Somebody's gotta bust him out.
You don't understand.
Send me to hell, Cowboy Jesus. Pretty please?
Aren't you curious about Cowboy Heaven? All of your dead family and friends are up here.
Well, obviously not all of them.
Okay, I see what you mean, but your parents, Roscoe, they're just beyond those pearly gates waiting for you. So are some of the people that you've met along your adventures. Tony Cannoli, that ghostly pizza chef, he's up here. A little fairy by the name of Fiddlefaddle, he's here too.
My parents? Really? I don't give a hoot about those other two, but it would be nice to see my parents.
They invented the first trampoline in Cowboy Heaven, Roscoe. When you jump on it, you can fly high enough to see the observable universe. It looks really cool. You can't jump too hard on it, though, or else you'll shoot into the inky black sea of nothingness.
Oh, really?
Really. Hypothetically, if somebody jumped hard enough, they could fly back into the realm of the living, but that would bring in all sorts of problems, so forget I said that.
Uh-huh.
Your parents have been talking about you a lot. We've all been following your adventures around the West. Just follow me in through the gates, and we can see your folks.
But after that, can you send me to Cowboy Hell? Checkers needs my help.
No, Roscoe. You can't leave Cowboy Heaven. It's against the rules. It says so in the Bible.
The Cowboy Bible?
That's the one. Your crime-fighting days have come to an end, my son. You can just relax up here with us. We've got jacuzzis.
Thanks, but no thanks. If I killed you, would you be that bad enough to send me to Cowboy Hell?
Kill me? No, that's not possible. I don't have a physical form. Nobody here does. Besides, people tried to kill me before and it didn't really work out well for them.
No physical form, eh? That means I should be able to run right through you.
What? Roscoe sprinted forwards, running straight through Cowboy Jesus and off in the direction of the pearly gates in the distance. What? No! What are you doing? He ran and ran, finally reaching the shining, arched gateway that blocked entrance into Cowboy Heaven. He tried to pry them open, but it was no use. They wouldn't budge an inch. It seemed like he couldn't phase through it either. Then he realized the bars had a certain amount of space between them, not enough for a normal person to fit, but Roscoe Taylor was not a normal person. So with a little bit of joint dislocating and bone stretching...
I'm in!
Roscoe popped out on the other side within the walls of the cloud city of Cowboy Heaven. There were angels of every shape and size, and he saw a giant golden trampoline in the middle of the cloudy courtyard. There was a large sign in front of it that read, "Jump with caution."
Okay. Now, if I bounce hard enough on that...
Roscoe! My boy! My baby boy!
Huh?
It's you! It's really you!
Mom? Dad?
Yes, sweetie. We're so happy to see you.
Sorry you splattered at the bottom of that cliffside, son. That was, rough way to go.
Guys, it's so good to see you again, but I'm a little busy.
What? What do you mean? Where's Cowboy Jesus?
On the other side of the gate. Look, you know my buddy Checkers?
Of course.
He's in Cowboy Hell.
Okay.
I'm gonna bust him out.
What?
If I jump on that trampoline hard enough, it'll shoot me up into the normal universe again. Right?
Nah, son, you can't be serious.
It's far too dangerous.
Dangerous? I'm an angel. I can't die again. Cowboy Jesus said so himself.
If you don't get enough upwards momentum, you'll be lost to the dark void between us and the realm of the living. Your atoms will be erased from time.
Wow, that doesn't sound like a good time. Guess I better not mess it up.
Why would you leave us, son? You just got here. We've waited for you for so long.
I know, and I'm sorry about that, but I gotta get back to Earth, then figure out some way to save Checkers from eternal damnation. There's got to be some way. Next time I die, I should end up here again, hopefully. I just need you two to wait for me a little longer.
Well, if you've made up your mind, then I suppose there's no point in stopping you.
Hey, stop that kid! Roscoe, why did you run away?
I hope you can help your friends, son.
Thanks, Dad. How can I get a big enough bounce to make it down to Earth?
Oh, what do you think, hun? 600 feet?
650 at least.
You're right. You just got here, Roscoe. I doubt your wings can flap hard enough to get you that high. We can help.
Really?
Really?
Thanks, guys. I mean it.
Cowboy Jesus was getting closer and closer to the three of them, and some angels with badges that read Heaven Police were following him. They had their holy nightsticks ready to strike.
Oh, hell, it's the fuzz. We gotta get you out of here. Let's go.
Okay.
Roscoe's parents grabbed hold of him by either shoulder and began flapping their wings straight up into the air, soaring higher and higher and higher, before they came to a stop at exactly 650 feet above the golden trampoline.
Don't do this, Roscoe. You're only supposed to get one chance at life.
Look who's talking, you hypocrite. I'll face whatever punishment I have to. Next time I come back here, but until then, eat my shorts.
Roscoe looked at his parents. They nodded.
Smell you later.
They let go of the Tallahassee tween, and he fell straight down like a dead weight. Roscoe hurtled down straight for the trampoline, flapping his little wings as quick as he could to help speed up his descent. Cowboy Jesus watched in awe as the tumbling tween landed onto the shining spring-powered tarp. It stretched down, fully absorbing all of the kinetic energy that had been thrust into it, before snapping straight up with bewildering force, ricocheting our hero high up into the sky like a flash.
Nice!
He flew up through the heavenly clouds, bursting into a dark layer of absolute nothingness. He traveled higher and higher, before finally reaching what appeared to be an infinitely large wall of glass. He breached the wall in seconds flat, shattering the obstacle and sending him into the land of the living once again.
Double nice.
He flew past galaxies and nebulas and all that space crap, finally reaching our solar system, rocketing towards Earth at breakneck speeds.
Almost there.
Busting in through the planet's atmosphere, he hurtled through the clouds and finally reached the rolling sand dunes of a desert. He couldn't believe his eyes when he saw Checkers Justice looking worn down, slowly walking along the sandy ground.
Checkers!
Roscoe?
At this point, Roscoe had become a human meteorite, and as he collided into the sand, a giant plume of dust and smoke burst outwards into the sky.
Oh, did you just die again?
No, I'm okay.
Once the smoke had settled, Roscoe poked his head out of the sand and pulled himself onto his feet. Checkers galloped over to his friend and gave him a big old horse-sized hug.
It's good to see you, pal.
What are you doing here? I thought you went to Cowboy Hell.
I did, but I got out. Long story. What are you doing here? I thought you went to Cowboy Heaven.
I did. I'm back too. Check out these cool wings I have now.
As Roscoe said that, his golden halo slowly disappeared, as did his fluffy angel wings.
Rats.
Boy, oh boy, I'm glad you're back.
Me too. I was gonna bust you out, Glad to see you can take care of yourself.
Well, now that we're in the West again, what should we do?
We need to find Barnaby. I want my hat back.
Yeah, I fought the devil. I'm ready to take on anybody.
We can't fight them all by ourselves again, though. We died once. Cowboy Jesus is gonna be pretty PO'd if I show up there again anytime soon. We're gonna need backup.
That's right. The boys are back in town, and in the flesh. If they want to take down Barnaby's army of antagonists, they'll need all the help they can get. Who will they enlist? How will they combat such overwhelming odds? Why did heaven have police officers? Does that imply the existence of Angel Jail? The prison industrial complex really never ends, does it? Will our heroes succeed? How will this story end? If you're asking yourselves any of these questions, fear not. You'll get the answers you deserve after this short commercial break. Welcome back to the end of Roscoe Taylor, the Tallahassee Tween. Now let's get back to the action. When we last saw our heroes, Checkers raced his way out of cowboy hell and Roscoe bounced his way out of cowboy heaven. 2 weeks have passed since then, and a lot has changed. For starters, Barnaby's army has been growing exponentially, using the underground tunnels dug by his armadillo armada to break out hundreds and hundreds of criminals. This helped bolster his troops' numbers, and armadillos breed like crazy. His gang grows with each passing day, and he's getting closer and closer to achieving his goal of conquering the Wild West. Our tenacious tomfools have been busy as well. Roscoe reached out to every ally they could think of during these past 2 weeks. They've put together quite a posse of their own. We go now to the fields in front of the Alamo at the break of day. Roscoe is on Checker's back as he speaks to the crowd before him.
Thanks for meeting us here, guys. I know it can be tough to find time in your schedule last minute. You guys rule.
No sweat, brother! Hulk Hogan would never pass up an opportunity to lay down some swiney smackdown on a group of jabronis.
What he said. We animal wrestlers have so much pent-up rage.
And I know the Ryman family band isn't exactly the fighting type, well, aside from Chuck, but we're pleased as punch to lend a hand when we can.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys. Let's do a little head count, huh? So we got the cattle wrestlers, the Rymans, the Prospector Quartet, Typhoid Tim, Father Jim the Baptist. Excuse me, I meant to say Father Jim, the disciple of Hare Krishna. Captain Clark, that shopkeep with the giant snake, Power Traveling Saloon. Are we missing anybody?
Coming! I'm late, but I am here.
Oh, hey, Post Office Pete.
That's my name. Don't wear it out.
Did we, invite you?
No, but a little birdie told me you guys were hatching a plan to save the West.
A little birdie?
I have a pet carrier pigeon. He helps me smuggle illicit substances across the border. It's a whole thing. It's not bad illicit substances, though. Just whimsical ones like imported taffies and clams.
How does a pigeon smuggle clams across the border?
Why, in his hollow bones, of course.
I knew it!
But how?
Don't try to visualize it. You'll just tire yourself out.
Okay, good to see you, Poe. Glad to have you as part of the team. And now that we're all here, this is the game plan. Barnaby is held up in that fort over there, the Alamo. We need to take him out and send all of his cronies packing. We're still outnumbered by a pretty wide margin, so we're gonna need to be smart about all this.
That's why we're attacking so early. If we can catch them while they're sleeping, we might have the advantage.
Exactly. Let's split up in 2 chunks and surround the fort. Hit them from both sides. Prospectors, Rymans, Tim, Father Jim, and Shopkeep, you all go to the east. Cattle wrestlers, Captain Clark, and Post Office Pete, you guys are coming with me to the west. Let's go!
The team separated and prepared for battle. As they surrounded the Alamo, the sun creeped higher and higher into the sky. For a second, things were still.
Attack!
The misfit crew of do-gooders leaped over the fort walls within the stronghold and began whacking, smacking, and shooting anyone they could. Barnaby's army woke up with surprise as this bizarre assortment of warriors sprung seemingly out of nowhere. It was chaos, unbridled chaos. The 4 singing prospectors were harmonizing as they smashed their pickaxes into the Flugans brothers. Joanna Bandanna punched Captain Clark in the face.
When Post Office Pete jumped down into the stronghold, he hit his head on a barrel and immediately passed out. Train Conductor Tom tripped over his unconscious body and smacked his head on the same barrel, knocking him out as well. Barnaby kicked the shopkeep's giant snake in the teeth. Roscoe tackled Pecos Jill to the ground and grabbed his lasso out of her hands.
Mine.
Lex Arcana, who was still dressed like a pine tree, stabbed Checkers in the shoulder. Checkers bit Lex's arm and threw him up into the crowd. The fight raged on for a half an hour. Nobody could really tell which side was winning, and they kept just punching and shooting and kicking and stabbing. Finally, Roscoe spotted Barnaby attempting to run away through the Alamo's emergency fire escape.
Not so fast.
Roscoe grabbed a nearby armadillo and chucked it at Saul Bunyan's head. Once the catapulted critter smacked his temple, the giant fell backwards, crushing the fire escape and blocking Barnaby's escape route.
Oh, come on, Saul! Get up, you good-for-nothing oaf!
Barnaby, let's go.
Oh, yeah? Just 'cause you have you idiots fighting on your side, you think that evens the odds?
I do.
You're wrong. Most of my army ain't even here yet. I have thousands of troops down underground waiting for my call. I'm done wasting time with you.
Barnaby, I'm sorry.
What?
I'm sorry that I left you behind and met Checkers. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings or anything, honestly. I had no clue where you went after the tornado crushed everything. I got distracted with saving the day. I should have tried harder to find you. I shouldn't have given up on you, buddy.
It feels weird to hear you say that out loud. After all this time, to hear you say you're really sorry, it almost makes me regret my actions. Almost, but not quite. Joanna! Where's that TNT switch? I rigged some dynamite around the floor of this place, and I'm gonna blow this whole thing sky high.
Joanna Bandanna threw a metal detonator box to Barnaby, who caught it with his hoarse mouth. Before he could chomp down on the ignition switch, Roscoe whipped out his trusty lasso and latched it around the detonator, yanking it out of Barnaby's hoarse jaws.
Checkers, catch!
I don't have hands!
Roscoe swung the detonator into the air towards Checkers, who kicked it in the direction of Captain Clark, who threw it to Post Office Pete. It bounced off his unconscious body into the hands of Peepaw Ryman, who threw it to Old Man McScruggins. The highest stakes game of hot potato was taking place, as the explosive switch bounced from hand to hoof to hand. The detonator switch had just been lobbed into the air from Typhoid Tim, when a billy goat bounced off the ground and swallowed the contraption whole. Barnaby watched with shock as Roscoe leaped in the air and delivered a right hook straight into his horse head. Barnaby fell to the ground, knocked out in a single punch.
Wow, didn't know I could do that.
All eyes were on the billy goat, who burped and stared off in no real direction. The explosives hadn't been triggered.
The boss is out cold! Everybody, scatter!
The criminals rushed away in every direction, leaving the Alamo as quick as they could. The armadillos burrowed underground. The Gold Nugget Golem led his goat army off into the horizon, including the little goat that just swallowed the dynamite switch. Within a few seconds, the Alamo was completely empty, leaving only Roscoe's friends and the unconscious bodies of Train Conductor Tom, Post Office Pete, and Barnaby the Evil Horse.
Whee-wee. That was long.
You said it. Great work, buddy. Great work, everyone.
What do we do with him?
Barnaby? Haul him off to jail, I guess. But we need to make sure it's one where he'll never be able to break out of. The rest of those criminals are pretty dumb on their own. He's the only one smart enough to use them as an army.
That's true. What about all the others? All the ones who escaped? All the ones underground?
Looks like we'll be wrangling up crooks for the foreseeable future.
There goes all of our free time.
At least Barnaby's out of the picture. He'll wake up behind bars where he belongs. Shame he turned out to be a homicidal maniac. He was a pretty good horse.
Hey, buddy, are you forgetting something?
Checkers knelt down and bit onto the tall cowboy hat that was still sitting on Barnaby's head. He lifted it up and gestured it to Roscoe.
Thanks, buddy. I feel taller already. Whoa, I just realized something.
Yeah?
It's December 13th, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Why?
It's my birthday. I'm 13 now.
Whoa!
Right? I totally lost track with everything that's been going on.
You're finally a teenager.
Whoa.
Well, before we head off after those bad guys, why don't we throw a little party for you?
Huh?
Yeah, we can play a little music.
And we can flex! Oh, yeah.
That would be nice. A little party. Are you sure we could do it now? They're all getting away.
We kicked their tails enough for one day. Let's celebrate a little and start rounding them all up later. What do you say?
Okay.
And celebrate they did. After deactivating all the dynamite in the fort, one of the prospectors discovered a secret basement. The crew filed into the underground room and threw a marvelous bash for the rest of the night. There was singing, there was dancing, the shopkeep supplied sarsaparilla and apple cider as everybody cheered to Roscoe and a job well done.
Oh, thanks, guys. I'm glad to have you all as friends.
The feeling's mutual.
Hey, Checkers?
Yeah, Roscoe.
I don't want us to split up anytime soon, so we can't go dying again. You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, buddy. Loud and clear.
And with that, our broadcast comes to a close, and our program meets its climactic conclusion. So ends the adventures of everyone's favorite resurrected rapscallion, Roscoe Taylor, the Tallahassee Teen. Tonight's episode was brought to you by KZSM.org, True Community Radio. Sam Pierce played Roscoe Taylor. Mitchell Oden played Checkers Justice. Bree Matherly played Cowboy Satan, Pecos Jill, Roscoe's mom, and a chicken. Lexi Morris played Joanna Bandanna. Max Foster played Train Conductor Tom and Don Peyote. Jordan Pilkenton played Barnaby the horse and Roscoe's dad. He's also been the audio producer for our entire program. This show was written and directed by me, Garrett Buss. I play the narrator and a whole bunch of other guys. Coming up after this is an incredible episode of Swamp Gas Uggos at 10, so be sure to stay tuned. From all of us here in the Wild Wild West, thank you and good night.